I say if you want to fix the world, we should all just get in a big old free-for-all fight and just work it out from there. Have you noticed the New World Order supporters, like in that news clip? They're always trying to control you, and it starts with your children, of course, in public school and daycare and all that kind of stuff. But it's about controlling your emotions. They don't want you to get angry. That's going to be illegal soon enough, folks. So, in the meantime, pop somebody in the nose while it's still almost legal. I really have seen the decline of this nation over the last, I've been around almost 50 years, happening because of simple things like that. Kids get in a fist fight at school now. What do? The first thing is they call the police. And somebody usually goes to jail, gets carted off. Back in my day, you could whack it out in the hallway. They just separated you, and, you had to stay after school. But it really kept things in order, didn't it? You didn't have these little whiny bastards up, taunting you. And, I just think there's not been enough bloody noses. That's the problem with America right now. There's not enough blood running out of noses. And look at the fix we're in. This is Homesteading Thursday. And another opinion I got is this nation went to the crapper at the turn of the century when your grandparents left the small farm and got a job and then bought a house from the banker in the city. And then what happened? The corporations then went out to the rural area and bought those farms, and they now grow what? Mutated, cloned, and sterile food by the truckloads, and then sell it back to you. And now you haven't much time to get back to the land. You're actually completely detached from how food is raised. And it, I think, separates us from the earth in a spiritual way, too. Because there's nothing like, folks, I know you gardeners know this, when you get down on your hands and knees and start working the earth with your fingers, and your sweat drips in there, there's a barter that happens. It gives something back to you, something beyond, that cherry tomato plant 100 days later. Something else. And I always can feel it, and I know gardeners can feel it. And I think that if we can get back to the small farm, the New World Order, this power structure, this pointed pyramid crap, will lose by default. They control your health, your wealth, and your time by keeping you away from what your ancestors had, which gave them a free life. And if you want to get that free life, I suggest you go and do a little homesteading. Buy an acre or two. It doesn't take much. I've got 5, and a lot of the 5 acres I can't even get to during the year because the 1.5, 2 acres that's really populated with my livestock is a full-time job nearly. When I had 20 acres in Montana, my gosh, there were parts of that 20 acres that I never stepped foot on. So it doesn't take much land to provide for you and your family. But I really do believe that there's a spiritual trade there. When you love the land and you work the land, it understands that sacrifice you're giving, and it will give back to you. Hey, like I said, it is Homesteading Thursday, and I've got a guest. It is Kuntucky Randy again, And now, Randy is a former emergency disaster manager, but has gone full-time into homesteading since 2006. So he's on his 4th year. And, Randy's also taught combat survival firearms school. And so we're going to do a show down the road on that sort of thing. But tonight we're going to keep it with homesteading. Let me welcome him. Randy, welcome to Don't Tread on Me. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, John. Thanks for having me again.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be great. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. You take it where you want to, but the first thing, Randy, let's answer the question that a lot of people have from your perspective. Why homestead?
Homesteading, John, it's a way of life, and unfortunately today, it's funny when you talk to people about homesteading, they look at you like you're talking about life on another planet. So many people are removed from what real life is today, being wrapped up in the glass tid and the corporatism of America today, that we do not have a clue anymore where we really came from. Our ancestors have already pre-mapped and laid this out for us. This is one of the easiest things that we can undertake to actually take the control back and put it in our hands and actually be able to accomplish something as a family unit that will benefit us today, tomorrow, and in future generations to come.
No, I agree. And, Randy, one thing I think that the farming community has made a mistake with is, farms back, if you really research it, folks, the average farm back in the late 1800s, right after the Civil War to about 1890, was around 10 to 20 acres. That's manageable. Most families back then were 5, 6 people, and everybody participated in raising the food. That was just part of the deal. So everybody had a strong work ethic. They appreciated what grew there, whether they had cows, goats, rabbits, vegetables, fruit trees, whatever it was. And what happened is, right at the turn of the century, people began to get a little greedy on the farm, and they expanded, and they quickly grew to 40 acres, 100 acres, and then it went on. And that's when corporations come in and dumped hybrid seeds and start taking control of the farm indirectly. And now they have complete control because they've patented the seeds, and they're taking farmers that are buying the seed to court whenever something else grows on their property without approval. It's a hijacking of our entire farming community. And the other mistake that I see that farmers have made is the more land they got through loans at the bank, they needed to work. I mean, they couldn't use the ox or the mule anymore with the plow. They had to have a tractor, and then they had to have a fancy tractor. Then they had to have this mega tractor. Then they had to have the mega harvester, and it just goes on, and the huge silos, and you see it all over it just went corporate. And now he works more than he ever did, and he makes less than he ever did. So I think it is the perfect time for us to go back to farming to gain our freedom, but also to learn from the mistakes of even a private farm that has just gone too big. It just doesn't take much room. Randy, how many acres do you have there in Kentucky that you're homesteading?
We have 22 acres.
Oh, nice. Nice. How wooded are you? You sent me some wonderful pictures I only put 3 of them on my blog. Everybody, check them out while we're talking tonight. You'll get a little sense of Randy's homestead. It's at bigjohnlipscomb.blogspot.com.